Yo guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, this has actually been decently requested from you guys in the comments. I'm going to be trying to tell you guys about all the interactions and matchups with sharpshooters slash snipers, because I think if I can make it into a series and you guys can understand each class and when to use them and when they get countered, then I think that is a better structure to learn draft than just telling you, oh, here are the best picks and like just like a small description. I think this might help you guys, like, you know, it also give you understanding for the future when other brawlers get released, other sharpshooters and other assassins and things like that. So let's get into the video. So for the most part, these are your marksmen, your snipers. For some reason, I think it includes like Gus and Byron as supports. Yeah, Gus and Byron are here as support, but we're going to be including them in the sniper category. And I'm also going to be including Gray and Jay Young for the most part. And I think Gene might go with that too. But yeah, with those brawlers in mind, like I said, these are your marksmen. These guys are your long range brawlers. These ones have the range. So typically, there's an order in which you want to go them. They all have different kind of applications. Belle is if you want something with a range, but you also want decent damage. Her shots are pretty easy to hit, and of course you play her for her super. Like the mark is just really good. I'm pretty sure it's 30 or 35. I think it's 35% damage increase. So yeah, like that mark is insane. Also, you play B, a little bit harder to hit shots, but you get more reward from them because that 4K. I mean, it's 4K damage. Piper, once again, very slow reload speed. You guys can see that these trade-offs. So you have to think about that in the draft scenario. Like if you're playing against assassins, you don't want to play Piper because, well, of course, they get up close to you. You do no damage. Your knockback, it doesn't even slow anymore, so it's really not even that good. Brock, very versatile because you can use your gadget to jump away, and that also changes a lot of matchups versus other snipers. And then, of course, other ones to break open the map versus things that he outranges. The first thing I want to talk about mainly is the range. Range is typically how you're going to counter other sharpshooters. So think about it this way. Piper has some of the most range in the game. She counters Brock because I'm pretty sure with shield gear is a 3-tap now, unfortunately because of the health buff, but still, you 3-tap the Brock. Brock also 3-taps you, but at max range from both of you, the Piper's going to hit the Brock's not going to hit the Piper, and that's the main important thing. Same thing with Belle. They have about the same range, and Piper has slightly bit more, and that just means the Piper will be able to 2-tap the Belle, and the Belle takes 3 shots to kill the Piper. You take that into consideration, how many shots it takes to kill them, but for the most part, it's the range. With Belle and B, though, that's like a bit of an interesting one because they have about the same range, but B shots are just much harder to hit. So Belle is a good counter into B because your shots are so much more consistent, and as long as like at max range especially, it is very easy to dodge a B. So B, when it comes to like these sharpshooter matchups, like a good counter to B is other sharpshooters. Like almost all of them are going to do really well. Then you have Pierce, which is like B on steroids pretty much. Pierce pretty much counters all of them, but I actually like the Piper into Pierce because the curve gives you so much pressure, and once you count his ammo, then there's really not much that Pierce can do because yes, you know where he's going to go to pick up his capsules if they dropped, so it's pretty predictable. And also Piper has like about the same range too, so they can both win it, but typically the Piper is going to be favored in that. Bonnie just loses to like literally every marksman, so don't really focus too much about that. Also, there's Byron. Byron is a good counter again into B because B loses like literally every sharpshooter. Piper does counter Byron once again because Piper 2-taps a Byron and has about the same range. I think it's a little bit more still for Piper. And then also it's a good into Bonnie because Bonnie just sucks. And I also prefer to play Byron into Brock. It is like there's like a 3 sharpshooters that together they have some weird interactions. So there's Brock, there's Byron, and there's Belle. All 3 of them against each other can win 50-50, but typically Brock is good into Bell, and Byron is good into both of them. But you can, like, it's still not like that difficult to win as a Bell into a Byron, or as a Bell into a Brock, or as a Brock into a Byron. It's very, like, I don't want to say it's 100% skill dependent, but I think it is just, it's skill for the most part. But in terms of typically like who's going to be favored, Byron will beat both of them, and Brock will beat the Bell, and Bell should in theory lose to both of them, but it's really not difficult as the Bell to beat them. Next up is Nani. Like, Nani is pretty much the sharpshooter counter. Like, definitely, it's because of this gadget. Return to sender, just be able to return that much damage while not taking damage yourself. It's just, it's so good, because, like, you think, oh, I'm a Piper, I'm going to 2-tap him, and all of a sudden, now you're one shot, and the Nani is still 2-tap, so all you really did was hurt yourself. So, like, Nani is just very good into those brawlers with, huge shots. So, of course, good into B, will be good into Piper, will be pretty good into Brock, because you can get out of, like, that explosion radius from, like, Brock at his max range. So, yeah, Nani, the highest skill, of course, like, very, very difficult to use, but if you're good with your Nani, then you pretty much will win every single sharpshooter interaction. Like, Nani is the king of sharpshooters. Now, this is where Angelo comes in. Now, Angelo, it's weird because he has a very fast movement speed, which no other sharpshooter does. So there's already that to keep in mind. But yeah, with Angelo, it's weird because on paper, he beats Bell, he beats Brock, he beats Byron, of course beats Bonnie, of course beats B. Also forgot to mention RT. He would beat RT. And he should beat literally everything. And with Nani, it's interesting because Nani, you can never really go for a 4K unless you're keeping track of the gadgets. You just kind of have to poke at the Nani. But in the long term, I do think Angelo is the best sharpshooter, and he has a potential to beat every single sharpshooter in the game. Like, Nani and Angelo both have that potential, but yeah. You guys are going to notice I'm not really talking about Maisie and Janet. I don't really think they're sharpshooters. They don't really have that range. They're not included in this discussion. And then Mandy, I'm pretty sure Mandy just loses to everything, because, like, you just dodge a couple shots and you move into her face and she loses. So just also never ever play Mandy. She's fun, don't get me wrong, and if, like, you're the GOAT, yeah, you have tons of range, but I really don't think that range factors in, because I know I said earlier, it's mainly the range for these kinds of matchups, but it's also the difficulty of hitting your shots. Piper shots, hard to hit. B shots, hard to hit. Brock shots, though, max range, very, very forgiving. Nani, depends, because if you shoot past your opponent, or, like, just right in front of them, you have, like, that extra, like, split range, so you can definitely at least get that 1600 damage in there. But yeah, pretty difficult shots to hit. Bell and Byron, very easy to hit. Where is RT? Okay, RT is here. RT is pretty easy. Or sorry, I'm just not speaking clearly. Very, very hard to hit shots. Very rewarding, but very, very hard to hit. And then if we factor in RT into these matchups, RT is gonna lose against Brock for the most part, because it's just Brock shots are just so much easier to hit. It's ridiculous. Piper is an amazing counter into RT. RT should be good into B. It's kind of a matchup you don't see often, but that would honestly be bad. Like, they both have, like, hard to hit shots. Versus a Nani, it depends. I would honestly still go with the Nani just because it's the king of sharpshooters, but I think an RT doesn't lose as hard to Nani as some of the other ones, like a Piper would. Bell would absolutely torture RT. Like, Bell is just really good. The shots are insanely easy to hit, and then with how much health he has, the mark just makes it so good. Versus Mandy, like I said, Mandy's just, like, really, really bad because you have to stand still, and if you stand still, you're gonna get hit. Angelo does really good into RT, and Pierce is really good into RT. Now, Pierce is a bit of a newer brawler, so where he factors into all of this, he has very, very long range, so he will beat Brock. Also, decently easy to hit shots. It's also very high skill cap, because you get more ammo the more shots you hit, right? So you got to be careful when you're doing it. Like, Pierce also has the potential to beat every brawler here, Maybe not Nani. I think Nani is amazing into Pierce, but Pierce can beat RT. Pierce can beat Angelo, but I'm pretty sure Angelo still wins. Pierce should beat the Bell, should beat Bonnie, should beat B. Like I said, Piper, I honestly think has a good matchup into it. And yeah, it does beat Brock. Now, there's another brawler I just kind of want to throw into this mix. And one of them is Charlie. Now, Charlie, of course, is because of this gadget, the Spiders one. She has decent range, not quite as much as these Sharpshooters, but those pets are just really, really good. Into a Brock, it doesn't matter too much, but think of brawlers like Piper and B and Angelo and specifically Pierce. It's just a really, really good counter into them, and I honestly could put them in this kind of Sharpshooter range because it's a brawler that you'll see pretty frequently on maps like Shooting Star and Bounty, and even in Knockout sometimes, so that's always something I'd watch out for when you're trying to play these Sharpshooters, and also when drafting in between them. Another brawler is Jean. Now with Jean, again, it's weird because Jean has a lot of range, doesn't do a lot of damage, but you use those vengeful spirits every couple of seconds when you get them, and it's going to slowly chip away your opponent. So I do really, really like Jean. Excuse me. For the most part, though, Belle is a great counter into Jean, and so is Belle. But for the rest of them, I'm not 100% sure. Like with Pierce and Angelo, you'd think that, like, you know, they'd win, but in my experience, the Jean does really good into Angelo because you're just like, Angelo is never able to heal because Angelo can't charge his shot and heal at the same time. So it's just honestly torture. And then into a Brock, again, you can just stay at that very, very max range. And then once you get your pull, this Brock has to be super duper scared. Then again, he can just change his gadget to the jump. And that's where some of these brawlers also have a lot of added versatility. Like B has Honey Molasses, and that can tank like a huge shot from like a Piper or from an Angelo. Angelo has this jump gadget along with his very fast movement speed. He also has the Pierce gadget, which can be good against thrower comps or against other sharpshooters in maps like Bell's Rock, where there's a lot of walls. But at the same time, that jump gadget is primarily what you're going to be using into these sharpshooter brawlers. Oh, sorry. Real quickly, though, before we get into anything else, if you use Return to Sender and an Angelo like hits you with a 4K, and then you pop your Nani gadget, and then you jump as Angelo, the projectile is going to like sort of hang in the air, and then it'll hit you as soon as you fall. It's the same thing if you hit a Nani as a Piper, and then you Piper jump, and then use Return to Sender, it won't hit you until you land back on the ground. So don't think you're invincible. You're always going to get hit by the Return to Sender, even if the Nani dies as well. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Another brawler I want to add into like these like when you're drafting for sharpshooters is with Jae Young. Now Jae Young is very, very good, but the thing with Jae Young is that his two hardest counters are Bell and Byron. So if you want to play Jae Young, you got to get rid of both of them, because Bell is like you want to group up with Jae Young, but Bell just literally counters that entire thing, so gotta get rid of it. And with Byron, it's the anti-heal, it's the really, really huge shots. You're not really able to do that. Another brawler that we need to look at is Gray. Now Gray is excellent counter into these sharpshooter brawlers, and is also played on like these bounty and knockout kind of maps. Very, very good into Angelo, because once you get your TP, it'll always going to be a guaranteed kill. Even if he has jump, you're still going to guarantee a kill with your TP every single time. Very, very good into Pierce. Very, very good into Piper, because these brawlers, they can't defend themselves when you get up close to them. Brock is actually a very good counter into Gray, because you can either break open the map and just range diff the Gray, but then again, the Gray could get slimy, but that's typically a good counter because you have your team with you. Or you can always switch to Rocket Laces. That's why Brock is so versatile, because he has two very, very good gadgets. It used to be the case with Piper, but they nerfed her gadget auto aimer into the ground so much that it's really just not worth it anymore. I am also very disappointed that Gus is in support as well. So talking about Gus and all of this too, Piper you'd think would be good into Gus because it has more range, and you 3-tap. I mean, you both 3-tap each other, but you have more range, right? And yeah, so you think the Piper wins, but honestly, the Gus, is kind of an anomaly when it comes to all of these sharpshooter brawlers, because Gus has the most HP. So he's just, it's really easy as a brawler with a lot of health to push into a Piper, because the shield just adds an extra 2 shots for the Piper, and it's already really demanding to hit those shots. So it's very, very difficult. Also, that cookie popper is lethal, and if you have it, you 2-tap like literally every sharpshooter. So yeah, Gus is honestly even decent into Nani for the same reason. Like, you have so much health. It's not like a crazy amount, but like it's relative to this group of brawlers, it's a lot of health. So it's just very easy to push into some brawlers. But versus something like a Brock, I still like the Gus, but I do think the Brock is a little bit more favored. Good into B, of course. Same thing with the Angelo and the Nani and the Piper. Like, the Gus can still push into it. He will, like, take a good amount of damage, but in the long run, it's still not bad for the Gus. Bell, however, I think Bell is a great counter to Gus, and I also really like the Pierce into the Gus. Now, I think the best way to like sort of wrap this up, in case like I'm missing some interactions with these brawlers, is I'm going to go one brawl at a time. I'm going to go over what they counter and what they get countered by, only in terms of sharpshooters. Then I'm going to go over the other classes and like what brawlers you're picking them into and what brawlers counter them. So we're going to start off first with Gus. Gus will lose against Bell, against Byron, and against against Bell, Byron, and Pierce. Those three I think are really good into the Gus. Now, what does Gus do good into? Gus does good into Piper. Gus does pretty decently into Nani, and Gus can be okay into Angelo. Angelo is a bit iffy, but Angelo shots are not the easiest to hit, so if you miss one of them, like I said, you're able to push up so easily. Just dodge a couple shots versus a Piper, versus a Nani, versus an Angelo. You use that health, and you push them all the way back into spawn, and then you get that shield, and it makes it even harder for them to kill you. And then Cookie Popper, just, it's a lot of damage. So Gus is probably the most well-rounded when it comes to all of this, because he's also good to defend himself versus aggro, because into things like Gray, it's a great counter into Gray, because Gray's never going to be able to kill you. Not Gray. Gus also does good into Jae Young, because he does like 2,000 damage. I think it's 2,120, something like that. Wait, how much is it? 2,160. Okay, I was close enough, but yeah, it's decent damage into a Jae Young, and his shots are so big that even the Jae Young speed isn't enough sometimes. So yeah, I think that is all. Oh, RT. I think Gus does counter the RT as well. So yeah, we're not even going to talk about Mandy and B, to be honest, because they just lose to every sharpshooter. So yeah, that's it for Gus. Oh, wait, almost. Sorry, Jean. Gus is good into Jean as well. And Gus loses to Charlie. Yeah, I just hate how they're not like with each other, but yeah, that's it for Gus. Next is Byron. Byron should beat Gus. It should beat Bell. And it should beat Jean. It beats Jae Young. And yeah, that's what Byron beats. But Byron will lose, and Brock, I think. Brock is 50-50. And Bell's, honestly, it can differ, but I think Byron's still favored, like I said. But Byron will lose to Nani. Byron will lose to Piper. Byron will lose heavy to Angelo. And I think with Pierce, I think Pierce does a pretty good job into it. But yeah, Charlie loses to Byron because of, is it called injection? Whatever the Pierce star power is, it's good into that. So yeah, Byron also pretty well-rounded, but his huge weakness is he can't defend himself, so Gray is going to be really good into him. Speaking of Gray, Gray beats Byron, Gray beats Nani, Gray beats Piper, Gray beats Bell. Gray literally beats everything except Brock and Pierce can use the knockback gadget, but I don't really think it's worth it, to be honest. The other gadget's still so much better. So yeah, but a great counter into the Gray is RT, is Gus, and Charlie. Those ones are going to do very, very good. Also, Gray is good into Jean, but Jean can sometimes be good into Gray. It kind of differs, but for the most part, I think the Gray is favored. And yeah, Jae Young is also a great counter into the Gray as well. Now we will talk about the Jae Young. Jae Young will lose against Gus, Byron, and Bell, but does really, really good into Gray because you can always pop the heal. And now like Gray lacks the DPS, doesn't have like raw damage output, so that heal just makes it completely torturous for Gray. And then, of course, the speed with his shots are very hard to hit. I also like the Jae Young. I like the Jae Young into Charlie, 100%. I love the Jae Young into RT because, like I said, those hard to hit shots are gonna make it even better. I love it into Brock. I love it into Piper. I love it into Nani. Angelo, it depends. Like a good Angelo, once he gets one super, he's gonna cycle him for the rest of the game, to be honest, with the poison. But it's 50-50-ish, to be honest. And then I think Pierce is also pretty decent into the J for sure. So yeah, those that's it for the support marksmen, even though they're just marksmen, bro. But I'm just gonna make sure I'm not forgetting anything. There's no way there's like a tanky one. Yeah, okay. Okay, so next brawler we're gonna talk about is Jean. Now Jean will lose versus Bell, versus Byron, versus Gus, and maybe versus Gray, and will lose to Charlie. But the thing with Jean in those kinds of modes is all you're going to do is just stay at your max range. You're going to poke them with your gadget, poke them with your attacks until you get a super, and you use that super to make space. Because like I said, Jean also has a decent amount of health, so you're able to push brawlers back, but you're not going to be able to punish them until you have your super. So it's kind of the waiting game that you have to play for the most part, which can be a little annoying, but as long as you're patient, then it can be fine. Like, it's a great counter to Nani because Nani cannot use return to sender. It's completely useless. With Brock, it's a little weird because you can definitely like just both max range each other, and the Jean has just slightly more, so you're gonna end up getting your pull. But it's just kind of hard to push into the Brock when you are always staying at max range, because that's where Brock thrives the most. I do like it into Piper and Angelo. And Pierce is a bit iffy because the Pierce can low-key destroy you with the slows from his third pieces of ammo. But yeah, you just got to keep that in mind. You're also going to realize I'm not really including Naja in this. Now, I know Naja has the most range in the game, right? And people think she's an awful brawler. Personally, I think every single sharpshooter in the game counters Naja because I think Naja shots are unbelievably difficult to hit. And more so, not that they're difficult to hit, but versus good players, it is so easy to dodge. It's unbelievably easy to dodge. And of course, they can't defend themselves either. So I would just much rather like an Angela with fast movement speed or a Pierce with more punishing shots. I'm just not a fan of Naja. Anyways, that is it for the Jean. Next, we're going to move into the Charlie. Now, like I said, it's not like quite like a sharpshooter, but I do like to include her in this pool of brawlers. Brock is good into it, and Byron is good into it, but all these like single shot brawlers that like can't do like any AoE kind of damage, like Piper and Angelo and I guess Mandy and Belle, like those brawlers are going to get countered pretty well by Charlie. Next brawler we're going to move into is the RT. Like I said, RT has hard to hit shots, but he does actually do fairly good into Brock. I do really like the matchup into Brock. Will lose to Piper, will lose to Belle, will lose to Angelo. Versus Nani, depends, because you're not doing crazy, like a huge damage, like something like over 3k, like a Piper or an Angelo that return to sender really thrives on. So you can definitely play around it, but I do think the Nani is still preferred. And then Pierce is very good into it. Like I said, Belle is very good into it. So yeah, also Charlie will do good. The Jae Young will do pretty good. So yeah, that's it for the RT. Now with Brock does good into Belle. Brock does good into what else is good? He's good into Jean. He's good into he can be played into a lot of things. Like, you can honestly play it into Piper if you're running the jump, but yeah, you mainly play it for that versatility in the map. He will like 1v1. He's gonna lose versus Pierce. He's gonna lose versus Angela. He's gonna lose versus Piper. Versus Nani, yeah, it's gonna lose versus Nani, but he will do good into Belle, and yeah, and he will do pretty good into the Jean. But like Jae Young counters it. Gray is interesting. Like I said, it depends. If this Gray is slimy, is able to dodge your shots from max range and move up into you, you're cooked. But if you can break open the map or use the jump gadget, then you're chilling. And then he's okay into Gus, because it's kind of hard for the Gus to push up because of how easy the shots are hit at max range. Unlike how Piper has to like really hit that shot to punish the Gus. So yeah, Piper does pretty much well into every sharpshooter, except for Nani and Angelo, but good into Pierce, good into Belle, good into Brock, good into RT. It's just you're not really gonna see, you don't see Piper a lot, especially like these last few months, because she's very underwhelming. Because you're not only playing like for those 1v1 interactions. Yes, like it's a very good last pick in some scenarios, but you're just not gonna see it because it's not versatile whatsoever. It can only do one thing. But like the rest of these brawlers can do multiple jobs. Like Belle can also play good into tanks and assassins. Brock can do good into assassins because he can jump away, and he can also shape the map how he wants to. So she lacks that versatility. Also, I do think Jae Young is pretty good into her, and of course, like I said, Charlie. Now with Nani does exceptional into every single sharpshooter. She counters. Like a good Nani will counter every sharpshooter in the game, but Jean is a great counter into it, and so is what else? Sorry, Jae Young. Jae Young is very good into it, and Charlie's good into it too. Belle is very easy to hit shots, sort of like Byron. So just because of that, you can like if you're good enough at the game, you can skill diff a lot of matchups. But on paper, Belle loses to Piper and Brock, also loses to Nani and Angelo, and should lose to Pierce. But like I said, with Belle, you can honestly make it work no matter what. But Belle does very good into brawlers like Gus, and Belle doesn't do exceptionally well into the other sharpshooters per se, but she's the sharpshooter that's probably the best into the non-sharpshooters, if you get what I mean. Same thing with Pierce, because Pierce is very, very good into tanks and brawlers with high health and aggro, and well, not aggro, but like not movement brawlers. Belle though can do very good into Jae Young and RT and Gus. I think those are the main ones. Next is Angela. Summer Tanani wins literally everything. Yeah, like literally everything, but Jae Young can be pretty good into it, and yeah, Charlie, but then you just go with the Pierce. So like I think Angela's like, if you have to upgrade one marksman just to have on your account, definitely do Angelo, because he will be the best for you most of the time. Like my recommendation, if you can only upgrade two, I would get Belle and Angelo. You could also throw in the Gus. Like Belle, Angelo, Gus, pick any two from those, and you're going to be set for your account. Last one I'm going to talk about here is Pierce. Pierce is very good into all of them except for Angelo and Nani, and it will lose hard versus things with pets like Charlie, and also loses to Piper. So yeah, those are like just the general matchups. I might have forgotten a couple of them, but that's just to give you guys like a foundation of what to expect. So now that we are done with that part, we are going to now talk about what you pick it into and what is going to counter it. So first we're going to talk about what you pick it into. Typically, you're not going to pick it into tanks. You're not going to pick it into assassins. But some supports you will. Like Jae Young is a support. You're going to pick a Belle into it. Like Belle does really, really good. Belle does good into Barry. But most of these supports have a lot of healing and mobility. So that's not really what you want to do. It's just because Belle has a mark which is able to like like there's a ton of brawlers within a category that they're not supposed to counter supports. Like you're not gonna pick a sniper to counter a support, but some brawlers just have their own niche, so they just they go against the general rule. Controllers though, that is for the most part when you want to pick these long range brawlers. It's typically into damage dealers and your controllers. Like, notice how you outrange a Bo, you outrange Penny, outrange Jesse, outrange Ems, Griff, Gale, hard on the meeple. Gene has his own niche because he has actually a lot of range and uses his spirits to push people back. Also, to not talk about Mr. P because Mr. P is awful. But yeah, Charlie is an interesting one because of how her pets work. But yeah, for literally all these brawlers, you are gonna pick a long range sniper into it. Same thing with these damage dealers. Like 8-Bit loses hard to Bell, to Brock, to Piper. Rico loses badly to Brock and to Gray. Colette loses to anything really with range because she just doesn't have the range to compete. Lola, the most infamous Lola counter is Bell. Like, you actually will get tortured. Same thing with Pearl. Pearl gets countered by every single sharpshooter pretty much, but not, well, Jae Young's not a sharpshooter, but I put him in that class. Pearl's pretty good into Jae Young. Eve also loses to pretty much every range. Yes, she has pets, but how do you get the pets if you're outranged? So Belle is actually pretty good into Eve. Brock is good into Eve. I actually like to play Angelo into Eve because Angelo, the shots are, I find it easier to hit Angelo shots, to be honest, because they don't have that delay in them. And also the Pierce just gets rid of the pets, so I don't really think Eve is a problem. But yeah, all these brawlers, especially Lumi, Lumi lacks range. Spike, very much so lacks range. They're just not going to be very good. Clancy lacks range, so these sharpshooter brawlers are going to be good into them. Throwers, do not pick them into the throwers are going to counter you. That's on a shooting star. If you don't have a thrower counter, let's say you have 2 sharpshooters and the other team goes Sprout last pick, GG's. At that point, just X out the game and go AFK. It's not going to be fun. But into sharpshooters, your top 2 classes are tanks and assassins. Typically, assassins just get in their faces. It's weird though, because you can't just pick any assassin. Think it's shooting star. You cannot pick even if you go long dash Sue, you can't pick Sue. You are never ever getting your super. Edgar though, since his reworks, especially this gadget for Let's Fly, I think he is very, very good. And to all of them, the number 1 counter has to be Mortis. Mortis just, makes so much space, so much movement. Very, very good. But yeah, all these assassins for the most part. Fang is also one of the best sharpshooter counters, specifically. Very, very good. You get that super. It's literally 10k health right into your face, a super duper fast. Yes, you can Piper jump away. You can Brock jump away. But it's just so much presence on the map. So Fang's really good. Miko is awesome. Yeah. Okie dokie. Miko as well is awesome. You're not going to see him very often, but is also very good in Bell's Rock, just some knockout maps, even some bounty maps. It's very niche, but if you see those maybe 2 sharpshooters, then you can go Miko. If you get a free Miko game, you get a free Miko game. It's more niche. Ali is awesome into them. Think you're gonna see a couple on Ring of Fire, Bell, you'll see a couple of times there. You'll see a lot of Pierce. Really, really good into them. So much movement, able to dodge shots too very easily because you're in the air. GG, very good into Gene, but most of them, they're single projectile brawlers, so GG's kind of useless. Melody is also an interesting one because you might get hard stuck. Think of Bridge Too Far. If there's a Bell on a lane, then you're never gonna get a super. If you get your super, sure, you're gonna be able to get it, but to be honest, Bell low-key tortures Melody because of the mark. You just 3-tap the Melody, and if you have a mark on you as any of these assassins, it's very annoying, especially if they're on the grounded mark star power. Oh my god, not reloading for 5 seconds, that is so annoying. Lily as well, one of the best ones, because you can just pop up in their face and Piper knocks you back, not a problem. You get pushed back by a Brock jump in your face, well, your speed star power, you're already back in his face. Like, it's really, really good. Another top tier counter right now is Leon. Like, that invis is just insane. And you have long range, you're able to charge like over time. And yeah, Crow is not a, I mean, yeah, once he gets his jump into Byron, it is fine. But for the other ones, it's kind of bad. Like, I would not pick Crow into a marksman typically, unless there's like some sort of like draft scenario for it. Kenji's awesome into them. Kaze is really good into them. Cord less so, because you're not really gonna see them on maps with a lot of walls, like the sharpshooters. But yeah, that's just the general rule. And then with tanks, of course, they just have so much health. You can see what their weakness is. So marksmen, their advantage is their range. Now they have two weaknesses. They really struggle versus brawlers with a lot of health, and they also struggle versus brawlers with a lot of movement. Again, every class is going to have their exceptions. Pierce does amazing into brawlers with a lot of health, and so does Bell. But Brock doesn't, Piper doesn't, RT for the most part doesn't. He does good into the assassins, but not into the tanks. And yeah, like Ollie is very, very good into them. Trunk gets in their face easily. BB can just pop a gadget and just walk in a straight line. If she really wants to, she can use batting stance and just not take any damage. But I still think home run is way better. The speed is more valuable than the shield. Daryl, once he gets those rolls, you're cooked. Like, think on bridge too far. Think on safe zone. Like, it's wraps. Bull, once he gets one super, one hyper super, you're also cooked. Like, versus like a Brock or something like that. Like, you need to have that damage, and that only really comes from RT, but also RT can be a little bit iffy. And Pierce and Bell. But the rest of them, like I said, like an Angelo is gonna get ran down by a BB, ran down by Daryl, ran down by Bull. Like, these brawlers, oh my god, Frank can just walk in a straight line and you're cooked. Of course, not into Pierce, but Pierce is a special one because he's a marksman that counters tanks. Like, a very, very, very hard counters tanks. But yeah, for the most part, those are all the interactions with sharpshooters. That was a lot of yapping, and I definitely could have forgotten something. So please give me questions in the comments, and I will be answering them. And yeah, that will be it for today's video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Peace.